down and talked to them, and we got a very positive response. We didn't realize that when you do this kind of stuff, it's usually more than 25,000, but we kept to the budget. And these are the 4 of the 5. We're going to get that 5th one day. We're going to do it. It may be on the 65th anniversary. We're just going to see how this works out. But the first sculpture is called Fuego, and it is at the foot of the bridge. And you can see, I don't know if you can't see, it's the far one is that's existing today, like that. This is a close-up of the first one. The artist was Kevin Marchetti, and he is deceased, but he was so, he helped us so much to develop the ideas of how we're going to do this. And when we started looking at locations, the idea was to create a walking path, to walk, to see all of the sculptures. And each sculpture is so different. Art, so people come up to me all the time, what does that art say to you? And I said, well, what does it say to you? It says, well, I had one of my patients I did a painting for, and she said, how did you get St. Francis in that picture? I said, it was from the Holy Spirit. But anyway, so each one of these things, you look at, they are named. Fire, fuego in Spanish is fire, and Kevin kept talking about his burning desire to do this project, and he named it. So that's the first one. So then we made a pitch to the Prices, Joanne and Mike Price, and they were so excited about it, and they just jumped right in. In fact, they had the first reception for the sculptures, and this is their sculpture. They gave us the money, and it was a very each piece of artwork had its own consequences about building. The challenges. For instance, Fuego is a 3-helix design. Originally, it was 1 helix, and when I saw that, I said, "Oh, this is beautiful. Look at that. It just goes right on up." And when they made it, if you would touch it, it would go. It just wobbled, and so we said, "Okay, well, we'll add another helix." And the next helix went up, and it just did a little bit. And then, so we added the 3rd helix to it. And it really, at the foot of the bridge was a welcome to Gulf Breeze and a come back and see us type of situation. So that was our first one. Our second one is Starlight. And this is it right here. It is in Woodland Park, and the artist is Lou Mitchell Courtney. And she designed when we asked her to present something, she came up with 5, 6 different things and made little maquettes of them so we could see what they were and see how they would be with the in the locations. And we didn't know exactly where we were going to put these until we actually chose the piece. And Pat Reagan and myself and David were the final, we're the ones that chose the sculptures themselves. But we did not want to have sculptures of people or of dolphins, or, you know, we wanted something to make people think. And when they look at it and they say, well, what is that? I want them to figure it out, you know? How does it affect you? You know, that's the important thing, is if it's, if it moves you, then that's the best thing. Our sponsor for that one was App River. Mike Murdoch was CEO of that business, and he was just very excited about it and was involved in the placement, I mean, not the placement, but he loved the idea of putting it in Woodland Park. This was at the time of Harry Potter, and so I looked at it and I said, you know, let's do some quibbits, you know, whatever they call it. It's good. It was good, and I really like it. It is illuminated at night from the inside when the lights work. Sometimes, you know, in anything, the lights don't work all the time. Anyway, the third was very interesting. I contacted Peter King, a fantastic ceramist. He is a very successful artist, and when I presented it to him, he came right back and said, I'm going to do this. And he did. And he created the third piece here. And he said, I'm from Gulf Breeze. I can't wait to do this. And he created the history of Gulf Breeze. And we have the, if you see, this is actually the front. That's the front of the sculpture. But there is a whole back. And we've got these up here to depict. And if you come up afterwards, you can read and see what each part is. But of course, the most important thing was when DeLuna landed, and that's the ship, you know. And then you've got the palm trees, and you got the naval live oaks. You've got all kinds of things. I'm not going to take the time to go through each thing. The back though it's just beautiful. And if you haven't taken the time to go right across the street to the park right across the street and really look at the history of Gulf Breeze. And once you look at it, and now that we have an outline there, you'll really understand it. But I was fortunate enough to watch them do this. And I've got pictures of them laying all the tiles out, sculpting them, working with their hands. It was wonderful. And then I said, but Peter, when are you going to put it together? You know, he said, oh, we'll do it over there. So it's just a beautiful piece, and it really reflects the history of Gulf Breeze. We're a young community, but as the fourth sculpture, oh, did I say who? Oh, Peter and Zieman, his wife, worked together on that and truly created it for Gulf Breeze. And yes, we had the city was involved in creating the actual park, making the space for it, and I love the way that it's outlined with the trees, the backdrop, and when you go up there and read it, and now I'm so glad to see that people are planting trees in memory of certain people. And I think that's another good tribute to the way we are in this community. But and the artist was Peter and Zieman. The fourth one, as I was saying, talking about community, the name of that one is Triple Up. And you can see the three prongs that go up. When Hurricane Ivan hit, Fred Levin's house was destroyed. And he salvaged those things. That was part of the gate. I think it was a gate going in. I'm not sure.
It was a chandelier.
Chandelier. It was a chandelier. That's right. And so he, Fred and Michael Bowles, Fred commissioned Michael Bowles to do a lot of work. And so he commissioned him to build this sculpture. But it's called Triple Up because one of the prongs is family, another prong is community, and the third is upward, moving forward. So, Triple Up. The city has been incredible in helping with each sculpture. We asked them told them what we wanted to do, and they found a way to do it. And I just can't, it's amazing when people get excited about something, and when they see these things, it was amazing. When we put these up, we covered them with a piece of canvas that hid the whole thing. It was huge, and it was really fun watching them put the whole thing over. They brought in the cranes and everything else to cover it up. But we wanted to do it elaborate, and it really was a beautiful thing. We still have hope for the 5th. At this time, I want to call David Alsop up. There was no way that I could have done. Listen, I just had an idea. You know, I'm a great idea person. David put the final touches on this, and we worked together on developing each area, but we can make these things stay. I couldn't. I've got a great idea. David?
I failed to mention that David is from Sam Marshall Architect Firm, and he has really given the city so many hours of his knowledge and vision, and we could not have done this without him. It just would not have happened.
Thanks for having us. What you hear is a story about a community that collaborated and worked together to achieve a goal. A couple of major points is that most of the people that you hear about the involvement in this are from Gulf Breeze. We moved here in 1983. We love the city. I think we're in our 6th or 7th house. You can't remember. But the idea of implementing this artwork and work into the fabric of Gulf Breeze becomes part of the history of Gulf Breeze. So while it's important to tell the story of Gulf Breeze, we're also making the story of Gulf Breeze. So we're creating history. So for instance, the tarpaulin that was made, the tarp that covered all these things, was sewn by a lady that lives on High Point. The labor for the crane to lift them was provided by Lamar Outdoor Advertising. The artists are from here and around here. And also, very importantly, no city money. These are all funded through donations. But what you hear is, you have a vision, you have an artist, he creates a vision, and then somebody's got to make sure it stands up. It needs a home, it needs concrete to hold it down. Several of these are lit, several of them are not. But the idea is that it becomes part of the fabric of the city, and after a while, you'll think they've just always been there. It's important that that story is told, because it is the history of Gulf Breeze. It's a young city, it's a young town, but we've had some very interesting debates about what constitutes public art. And there is no category for public art. Art is characterized by seven categories. Painting, which includes drawing, sculpture, literature, architecture, music, theater, and cinema. And those 7 categories really cross over each other. They're intertwined, and that's what makes art. And public art is just something that's out there that the public can view and enjoy. And I agree with the concept that if people are talking about it, whether they love it or they hate it, then it's achieved one of the goals of art. Anyway, we appreciate the time. We love telling the story. I would love the idea that we carry this thing forward, and instead of 1 more for a total of 5, we end up with 10 or 15. And then it's part of what people come to Gulf Breeze to see. You come here with your kids and you're spending the weekend at the park and you wanna know, hey, what's there to do in Gulf Breeze? And you know, we send people to the beach and we send them to Joe Patty's Seafood. I was asking somebody, who's the most famous person from Gulf Breeze? And the first answer I got was Alan Davis. Anyway, thank you for your time and attention. And I know if you have any questions, they can be answered.
Could you tell us anything about the vision for number 5 and where it's going to be?
We're in the works with that, and we actually developed a map, and we've shown about 7 or 8 locations, but we haven't decided.
Okay.
We like the concept that Steve mentioned of getting the piece and then deciding where it should be so that it's in the right setting.
You or Steve probably mentioned it, I apologize for, I didn't get it. Where's the location of Triple Up?
It's at the foot of the bridge. It's right by what's called the 911 Park, and also known as Ace Hardware.
Yeah.
Probably most popular.
Green space right there.
Oh,
okay,
okay.
I didn't know.
Tell them about the landscaping and all of where this is going.
Yeah, the landscaping around the first piece will be enhanced through the vision of the completion of the bridge. And so there's a plan, there's some plant material, but the placement of it is another one of those things that we'll do as the project is completed. It's kind of like landscaping at your house. Except at my house, my wife told me where everything was going. There was no decision to be made.
As it should be.
I think
well, and she knew what she was doing. So.
One of the things I forgot to mention is each one of these artists are local. We did not go out. We wanted to make sure that people from Gulf Breeze Arts, some are from in town, but they're all local. And if you just look at the little detail right here, that was just added at the very end. Kevin says, we need just one little focal point. And there's your focal point. But look at the whole thing, how it went. And the intricacies of the helix is amazing. Starlight over here is, it is just so cool. Just sits there, and the kids come around and get up under it, you know, and they try to climb up these, you know, just like kids do. But and the idea again about walking, a walking path was, you see all these mothers walking with their strollers. Well, you know, if we can figure out how to get from Fugo to this, it would be great. We'll figure that out. But there, and then to come, just all they have to do is walk right down South Sunset, and here's the history of Gulf Breeze, and this is right there as you come off the Pensacola Beach Bridge. But they all are. When you look at a piece of art, you look at, oh, that's real nice. Well, you can't do that. You should study a piece of art, because it really will talk to you. People ask me all the time, well, how did you paint that? I said, well, the painting told me how to do it, and they do. I mean, you start painting and you say, oh yeah, it'll talk to you, and it's the same thing. If you take the time to look at these sculptures, and you will learn a lot. Any other questions? Yes.
Well, this isn't really a question, but we have talked about at the boardwalk and different places doing the thing. Is it the QR code where you can, like in a
Yes.
museum or a gallery, you know, where you can just key in and then people can
Yeah.
actually hear the story with it. And that makes a huge difference to me when I can do that. And that I'm thinking, listening to the three of you, that that would be a great thing to have with these, because it's contemporary art, especially, people can tend not to like it right away, or they really are interested in it. And I think when the story's told, you know, then it makes it personal one way or the other.
It really does, and contemporary art is contemporary. It doesn't follow a lot of the rules, and A lot of us artists don't follow a lot of the rules.
Yeah.
Any other questions?
I would like to close, if you
Yeah,
don't
please,
mind,
please.
with being from municipal government standpoint, our city staff truly worked hand in glove with each one of these installations. I mean, because we had the donations, but a lot of things to save money and to make our usage of what we had, city staff would help us lay the cement. They helped us with the landscaping. They helped us with the lighting. And this would have to go before council and get approval. And so our community, our city council, the mayor, the city staff, we're all on board for this. And so really, there is a big debt of gratitude that we owe for these beautiful pieces with conjunction with the city. So, you know, Madam Mayor, thank you again for that wonderful idea, and thank you to the city for allowing us to enjoy these beautiful works of art.
They really are.
And
Well,
for the
thank you all for
generosity
putting it together.
of each one of these donors.
Yes, exactly.
Thank you.
Well, that was fascinating. I knew a little bit, little tidbits here and there, but I didn't know that much, and they are amazing. That was a wonderful presentation. Let's give all of them another round of applause. And I want to plant a little seed that, yes, another wonderful thing that we're so hoping is going to come to fruition this year is that we'll have a museum in Gulf Breeze for people to come and visit. And that's on the walking path between these, you know, where the Benson House is, right?
Yes.
Are y'all aware of the,
Yes,
yeah,
yes.
our plight to have it become a museum? And it's been a long time coming. There was, that house was, you know, there were plans to tear it down, to condemn it. And so we're honoring the Benson's will, and I thought, that's a beautiful piece of property there. It's like a park setting, and it's like, maybe that could be the place for the 5th one, or the 6th or the 7th.
There you go.
You know, yeah. So, that was wonderful, though. I really enjoyed that. Thank you so much. And thank you, Jim, for getting us such a wonderful program. We sure appreciate that. Well, we're gonna continue on, and I've lost my agenda.